So not only is this already $500 million worth, the jet in and of itself is a $500 million. With the extra specs, it's going to be $1 billion fucking dollars. Trump is going to have a $1 billion jet for his own personal use. And if you believe Trump, when he says that he is not going to use it personally once he's out of office, which, by the way, who knows if that ever happens. Anyway, yeah, New York Times also covered Trump's failed attempt on reining in the Houthis, and we'll get to that in a second. But I do think, overall, I do think I did the right thing talking about it. And the reason for why I believe I did the right thing talking about it is because look at the attention that it has brought. Because this has been a part, like an ongoing, this has been a part of the media coverage already. I've covered it on this broadcast, as you guys know, where I talked about like an immigration attorney being detained at the border coming back from Canada and how they knew he was an immigration attorney. And they brought it up in that conversation with him, and how and how ridiculous that was, and how deliberate that was, that targeting was. But this is like, I think probably one of the most high-profile political dissidents of this administration that has actually been detained for a period of time at the border and asked like these ridiculous questions about Donald Trump and shit. So I think it's important. It's important that people are aware that this is happening. Anyway, that's why I got to travel everywhere I go with my apolitical hat. It's true. All right, let's get back into it. Donald Trump arrives in the Middle East as he faces fallout over plan to accept luxury jet. Now, I covered this yesterday. Obviously, a lot of people are very upset that Donald Trump has finally received a bribe from not Israel. Okay. Bribes from Israel, very good. Bribes from not Israel, not good. Okay.
News overnight, President Trump has arrived in Saudi Arabia, the first stop on his 4-day trip to the Middle East, as he faces fallout over the plan to accept a luxury jet from the government of Qatar and other business deals for his family. Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce is in Saudi Arabia with the president. Good morning, Mary.
George, good morning. Well, President Trump is kicking off his first major foreign trip of his second term here in Saudi Arabia, welcomed here overnight with great fanfare. But he's already facing questions about the objectives of this trip and whether his plans to accept that luxury jet from a foreign nation is safe or legal. Overnight, President Trump touching down in Saudi Arabia, escorted by military jets, a lavish welcome for his first visit to the Middle East since his re-election. The president greeted by the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, kicking off a 4-day trip that includes stops in Qatar and the UAE. It's a region increasingly vital to the Trump family's own financial interests. His sons, who now run the Trump Organization, have lucrative real estate deals in the works in all 3 countries the president is visiting, including an exclusive golf resort and villas. The Trump cryptocurrency business also recently announced a deal including a $2 billion contribution from an affiliate of the UAE. And the trip is raising eyebrows for that major gift the president is poised to accept from Qatar, a massive 7478 jumbo jet so opulently configured, it's known as a flying palace.
I think it's a great gesture from Qatar. I appreciate it very much.
The Qatari royal family planning to gift the Pentagon at an unknown date the luxurious $400 million plane to be retrofitted to serve as Air Force One for the remainder of Trump's presidency, a process that would likely carry a hefty price tag at the expense of American taxpayers.
I would never be one.
Yeah, he can't actually, here's the thing. He cannot actually have a normal jet because he's the current president. So if he's going to use this jet to fly around, they have to put like another couple $100 million worth of renovations and upgrades, because Air Force One has specific specs. So not only is this already $500 million worth, the jet in and of itself is a $500 million. With the extra specs, it's going to be $1 billion fucking dollars. Trump is going to have a $1 billion jet for his own personal use. And if you believe Trump, when he says that he is not going to use it personally once he's out of office, which, by the way, who knows if that ever happens, okay? That is a real issue here as well. That is if he actually entertains leaving office. If you think that once that takes place, he's not going to use this jet for personal use, you're silly.
To turn down that kind of an offer. I mean, I could be a stupid person and say, no, we don't want a free, very expensive airplane.
The plane would then be donated to Trump's presidential library right before he leaves office. The proposed deal, unlike any other, would almost certainly be the most expensive gift from a foreign nation to the U.S., drawing serious questions about its legality. Attorney General Pam Bondi, who used to be a lobbyist for the Qatari government, says the gift is, quote, legally permissible and not a bribe because Trump isn't giving Qatar anything in return. The president adamant when pressed by our Rachel Scott.
Respectfully, sir, though, as a businessman, some people may look at this and say, have you ever been given a gift worth millions of dollars and then not received anything else?
It's not a gift to me. It's a gift to the Department of Defense.
But Democrats and members of the president's own party aren't buying it, saying the deal would violate the Constitution's ban on gifts from foreign heads of state and raising security concerns.
Air Force One is the Oval Office, it's the press room, it's the Situation Room, all in the air. Why on earth is it a good idea from a national security perspective to let another country, let alone the emir of another country, give President Trump his next Air Force One?
He seems to intend to use it for Air Force One. Do you have security concern?
Well, they better sweep that plane from front to back.
She had no words. She was stunned. She was too stunned to speak. Within the Secret Service, the potential of gifting a plane by a foreign government for presidential use is being viewed as a security nightmare, a law enforcement source told CNN. Yeah, no shit. I think the amount of time it would take for them to actually, one, sweep the entire thing, and two, take it apart and then rebuild it to fit the specs of Air Force One for operational security would already extend beyond his fucking presidential his presidential term. Okay? Like that I don't understand. Like when he says, oh, it's just fucking, I'm gonna give it to my foundation. I'm not gonna use it after I'm done being president. It's like, do you know how long it's gonna fucking take to rebuild that thing? It's probably easier to build Air Force One from scratch than it is to most likely tear this thing apart and rebuild it to suit the purpose of Air Force One. Air Force One, for the record, is a plane designed to withstand nuclear holocaust. A plane that can fly around permanently as long as it gets refueled. Okay? The idea that it's like a normal plane is so stupid. It has incredible amounts of securities all around it. Boeing said the new plane should be ready 2017, 2018. But of course, as you guys know, considering that, I am also funded by Qatar and the major oilers that are my most significant funders. Thank you. This broadcast is sponsored by Qatar. It's great that they're also juicing the GOAT, Donald Trump. Anytime someone gives subs in this broadcast, which by the way, you can also become a part of Qatar, the great nation of Qatar, by subscribing to the broadcast for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, where you get one free Prime subscription a month. Use it on your favorite broadcaster and become Qatari. Decoy166, thank you for the 5 get the subs. Decoy166 from the Emirate. It is easier to repurpose the plane than build a new one from scratch, especially if it has to be a 747. Also, our Air Force One program is gutted, so it won't even happen without budget approval from the feds. I feel like a plane outside of those specs. Look, I'm not going to say anything, but I am very familiar with commercial airliners turning into being repurposed for military capabilities or vice versa. I won't speak on it too much. At least I know more about this than the average fucking person. And I know how long it would take for a plane like that is completely... I know that it would take a very long time, basically, to retool that to suit the purposes of being Air Force One. Hold on. I'm like fucking replying to journalists on here on the side.
Now, the president has a busy first day here in Saudi Arabia. He is slated to give remarks later at an investor forum with Saudi and U.S. business and tech leaders before attending a state dinner with both the king and crown prince. Robin.
All right, Mayor, thanks to you.
Places like Dubai and Abu Dhabi, Doha, Muscat, the transformations have been unbelievably remarkable. Before our eyes, a new generation of leaders is transcending the ancient conflicts of tired divisions of the past and forging a future where the Middle East is defined by commerce, not chaos, where it exports technology, not terrorism, and where people of different nations, religions, and creeds are building cities together, not bombing each other out of existence. We don't want that. And it's crucial for the wider world to note this great transformation has not come from Western interventionists or flying people in beautiful planes giving you lectures on how to live and how to govern your own affairs. No, the gleaming marvels of Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not created by the so-called nation builders, neocons, or liberal nonprofits like those who spent trillions and trillions of dollars failing to develop Kabul, Baghdad, so many other cities. Instead, the birth of a modern Middle East has been brought by the people of the region themselves, the people that are right here, the people that have lived here all their lives, developing your own sovereign countries, pursuing your own unique visions and charting your own destinies in your own way. It's really incredible what you've done. In the end, the so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built, and the interventionists were intervening in complex societies that they did not even understand themselves. They told you how to do it, but they had no idea how to do it themselves. Peace, prosperity, and progress ultimately came not from a...
Thank you, Bottom G, from the beautiful nation of Qatar, for the 10 gifted subs.
Radical rejection of your heritage, but rather from embracing your national traditions and embracing that same heritage that you love so dearly. And it's something only you could do. You achieved a modern miracle, the Arabian way. That's a good way. Today, the Gulf nations have shown this entire region a path towards safe and orderly societies with improving quality of life, flourishing economic growth, expanding personal freedoms, and increasing responsibilities on the world stage. After so many decades of conflict, finally it is within our grasp to reach the future that generations before us could only dream about, a land of peace, safety, harmony, opportunity, innovation, and achievement right here in the Middle East. So beautiful. It's such a beautiful...
JD Pondon is real? No, it's not, dude. Are you crazy? This is the grand American vision, the grand American design for the region. Okay? This is, look, I'm not a defender of the Assad regime by any metric, but due to the weakness of the Assad regime, it presented itself as a significant part of the logistical supply chain between Iran and Hezbollah in Lebanon by getting security commitments from Hezbollah in order to maintain its despotic regime. The Assad government was perfectly willing to allow Syria to be a formative part of the supply chain, right? the American government obviously did not want that because they are anti-Iran. Iran is a part of the axis of resistance. Iran is the most significant part of the axis of resistance against Israel and America's grand design in the region. All of the other Gulf states are directly aligned with America and play a formative role in this grand design. Okay? So for him to, one, claim that this is a people's revolution, not entirely removed from American involvement and American interest, is ridiculous. The Syrian civil war, especially, is one where virtually all of the belligerents, with the notable exception of Iranian-backed forces, the Russian military forces, and the Assad government itself, with those three exceptions, were directly funded either completely by the United States of America and offered training by the United States of America, like YPG, shouts out the Brace Belden, shouts out the Rojava, or funded and trained through a secondary group, Turkey, like a lot of the Salafist brigades that the Turkish government armed and trained in the region, or maybe indirectly by way of indirectly led to having some kind of power like the Al-Qaeda and ISIS affiliate groups. Okay? This is not a defense of the Assad regime at all. I'm just simply trying to offer you some context. The idea, two things can be true at once. Assad could be a despotic dictatorship that was ruthless and brutal, while simultaneously, and killing a shit ton of civilians, torturing them, imprisoning them en masse, while simultaneously, the American intervention in the country was directly related to forcibly decoupling Syria from playing a role as a part of the supply chain between Iran and Lebanon. Okay? It is one of the most American-involved, American-intervened modern-day conflicts. Just look at the just look at the fucking Wikipedia page and the belligerents. And once your head stops spinning from looking at the long list of belligerents on the Syrian civil war, you will start recognizing that a bunch of these belligerents in direct conflict with one another, like the Kurdish militias and the Turkish-backed militias, were still both funded either directly or indirectly by the United States of America, either by way of NATO or through direct CIA intervention. What do you think of the reporting showing that Assad was selling out Hezbollah to Israel and helping them target Hezbollah leaders? I am not even remotely surprised by that fact. Yeah, here it is. This is great. This is here. It'll brick your fucking brain a little bit. The United States announced a $1.4 billion arms deal with the UAE ahead of Trump's visit in January. Senator Chris Van Hollen and Representative Sarah Jacobs criticized the UAE for supplying weapons to Sudan's Rapid Support Forces, CNN. This is also, yes, another important aspect of this conversation as well, is that the UAE is directly responsible for the crisis and genocide happening in Sudan by supplying weapons to Sudan's Rapid Forces that are starving out the population of Sudan. This is something that the American government has even recognized, as a matter of fact. Well, the previous